Welcome to Right Now, the vidcast of the I94 West Chamber of Commerce, brought to you by Clear Simple Business. I'm Greg Anzelc.
I'm Sarah Becker.
And I'm Will McLeod on the controls.
And we also have Carl here helping out, which is always good to see Carl. I haven't seen him in a couple weeks, Sarah, after the 4th of July holiday, which was great. This is our fourth podcast, which is a vidcast. And wow, is that awesome, right? This is our fourth.
I
Pretty
know.
cool.
I almost feel like I've got things figured out.
We're getting there. It's easy to do with Will and Carl here.
Yes.
But we've got a great show for everybody today. We've got a special guest we're going to introduce here momentarily. And, of course, we're coming to you from the Chamber of Commerce office located at the global headquarters of Rogers Printing and Promotional in downtown Rogers, which is a great space we're in here today. Like I said, we've got an awesome show. We're going to talk about some local news. There's a splash pad coming to St. Michael, which I know Sarah's super fired up about.
Oh, yeah.
What are people going to do with their kids when school opens up here in hopefully opens up in a month or so? The I94 traffic, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. The Chamber's got a drive-through barbecue, which Carl's over there salivating right now. It's 2 weeks out, but he's already hungry for that, as are a lot of Chamber members. We have had a great response to that, Sarah, so we're excited about that.
Carl probably put his order in for quadruple the steaks or shrimp or whatever they're making.
I don't know that Bill Carrington and the guys will be doing any steak and shrimp, but we're going to have some burgers. We're going to have some hot dogs from our friends at J&B, so it's going to be an awesome event. And then we're going to talk a little bit of the golf tournament, as well as some new members that have joined and some renewals that have come in. So it's going to be a great show. And like I said, we've got a special guest we're going to introduce here in a minute. But before we jump into that, I know all of us had some great, as everybody listening did, time over the 4th of July. I rode my motorcycle up to Lake Vermilion, caught some big fish, had some great family time. Weather was awesome, hot, one of those days where you just jump in the water every 30 minutes. And it was a good, I know Will was on the road. Will, how was your National Lampoon's remake vacation you did? You kind of got in the car with the family, which is awesome, and kind of did the Main Street America tour.
Yeah, we had the goal of getting out to Rushmore, and we were having so much fun on the road that we just decided to go a step further and went all the way to Yellowstone National Park and up in the Grand Tetons, and it was something else. I tell you what, we had a really tremendous time, and but they say you only have 18 summers with the kids, so I think we had a good summer this summer.
And we'll I'm sure see some pictures that will sprinkle into this broadcast.
Yeah, good idea. I saw quite a few on Facebook, and you guys looked like you were having a ton of fun.
Oh, don't tempt me. We'll have like a 5-minute interlude with all pictures from my vacation. So.
And Sarah, I know you kept busy as well.
Yeah, I did the cabin thing. Like you said, it was incredibly hot, so it was great to be up somewhere where you could just jump into the water. And then I also had a fun kind of moment with my son, kind of a positive pandemic moment. So since all this started, we decided as a family to cut back on daycare. So we're not full-time, we're part-time.
Yep.
And my son, so my kids are 7 and 5, and my son has a lot of interest in driving machines like the four-wheelers and the snowmobiles and lawnmower. And so I was hopping on the lawnmower to mow the lawn, and he decided that he had to come with me. And this was a few weeks ago. And then the next time we went, he decided that he had to mow the lawn himself.
Oh.
And so he's a 7-year-old, and we have a 0 turn. So I have to sit on there because he doesn't he doesn't quite weigh enough, him and his little 50-pound frame. So I had to sit with him, but he literally mowed pretty much the whole yard, except for the mound. I didn't let him do the mound because that stressed me out, because the hill stresses me out sometimes with the steepness of the hill. But it was kind of exciting because I was sitting there. It was hotter than,
the 4th of July.
Yeah. And so part of me was like, oh, this is kind of a pain because we have to go half the speed. But then another part clicked in where it was like, if he wasn't home and I wasn't spending as much time with him, we would have never done this, because normally I'll mow the lawn when they're
Yep.
gone, and I'll zip around and get it done as fast as I can. So it was just a kind of a cute little moment, and the neighbors passing by just thought it was hilarious. We got a ton of thumbs up, and it was a lot of fun.
So a note to anyone out there, if you're looking for a yard service, call Sarah and her son will come over and cut your grass. Right?
Yep, I'll have to put some weight on the mower so that I don't have to sit with him all the time. But yeah, it was fun. It was a good moment.
Good. There are those positive. I like your term, positive pandemic moments, and there's plenty of those happening for sure. And actually, when you start talking about turf and soil and all that kind of stuff, it's a great segue into our special guest for today that's joining the show. Alec Plaisted from Plaisted Companies was recently honored by the I94 West Chamber of Commerce with the Young Professional of the Year Award, which was pretty cool. And for those of you that are not familiar with the Plaisted Companies located in Elk River, it's absolutely, I'll call it an enormous operation from the standpoint. They have a commercial division, which for anybody that lives in sort of the northwest corridor, you see the semis driving by, hauling gravel and everything else they have. They're engineered soils, and they've got a lot of really cool stuff going on their commercial side that we can talk a little bit about here. But also they have a sort of a retail side where, those of us like yourself who like to do projects around the house, you can back your trailer up or your pickup truck and pick up soil there. So Alec was nominated by Katie Shatusky, who is the marketing director at Plaisted's, who does an awesome job up there, family-owned business. How was that, Alec, for an introduction? How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Yeah, thank you very much. Obviously, I want to thank Katie. She's done great wonders for our company since she started a couple of years ago now. But actually, we're gonna do a little unveiling here because this came in the mail yesterday.
Ooh.
I got it in the mail, and I was like, oh, what did I buy this time?
Well, this, by the way, for everyone listening and watching, is not scripted. I don't know what Alec is going to open. Actually, I do know what he's
now I
going
know.
to open here, but kind of a special moment.
Look at that.
That's awesome. I'm fired up.
All right.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I might have to make myself a trophy case down the wall or something.
Talking about Katie originally, that's a great looking award, well deserved. Congratulations from everybody here at the Chamber, the board of directors, our executive board, and all of our members. We had a lot of great nominees, and obviously, Alec, you're doing a great job up there. So that trophy is well deserved, and I hope you display it proudly. But I got to tell a little story. When I first met Katie through the Chamber, of course, she told me she used to babysit you. Is that true?
She did. It's a family business, and she used to babysit me. And actually, her dad works in the pit, so it's kind of funny. They work together also.
Yeah, she told me a few stories, but we'll leave those stories out of this conversation because we want to keep it focused on the awesome story of how Plaisted Companies has evolved over the years. And when I first heard the story of Todd, how it all started, it was it just sort of felt like an all-American, Main Street America story about having a mound of dirt and turning it into something, and it's grown into a lot that we'll talk a little bit about here in a minute. But
It's huge.
let's go back to the very beginnings and how Plaisted Companies started.
Yeah, I want to start by first saying thank you and the Chamber for giving me this award. It's amazing what you guys do for the small businesses in the community. So just want to thank you first. I didn't get to do that, but we'll get into the history here a little bit. So actually, 30 years ago this month is when it started. So that's kind of awesome. So 30-year anniversary here at Plaisted Companies.
Do you have a big party planned for the 30 year?
We have a couple of things planned, yeah. So we're excited to do some things with our employees and whatnot. But the history. My dad loves talking about this. This is kind of his baby, obviously. So he gets to know all the depth. He'll go for hours. But basically, it started 30 years ago. He likes to always say how it started with an ice house that he had for dispatch and different things. And that's funny. We were looking back at pictures since it's 30 year, and he had a picture of it. I never believed it until I just saw that. It's kind of cool to see. But it started 30 years ago on the land that my grandpa actually owned because of A&E, the concrete company up the road. And they found that it was actually really a good reserve for sand and aggregates. And I guess started digging. And originally he started selling products to masonries and different things, commodity products like that. And then I think it was Princeton Golf Course kind of found out that we have this mason sand and this finer sand that really worked nice for their top dressing and bunkers and things like that. And then from there, it was kind of during a golf course boom, so we evolved into buying one peat bog in McGregor, and now we're up to 3 peat bogs up north. And we could implement the peat and different organics within our sands to build different tee boxes and greens and such. So from there, it's grown to a lot of different industries, such as, like you said, the engineered soils, horticulture, equestrian mixes, just about anything, sports fields. It's come a long way since then.
It really has, and there's an impressive list of facilities that you've provided your soils and aggregates and things for. Let's do a couple name drops, if you would.
Yeah, so we did the Twins facility. We did a lot of material there. Then we did the Saints facility, the New Loons facility, so that's the soccer stadium. The Vikings training facility. We did the practice fields outside. So none of the artificial turf. That's a swear word in our company.
Well,
Not around the country and even the world to different big stadiums such as like the Broncos and things like that. So
Wow.
all over.
yeah, it definitely is as you mentioned, a family-owned business. When you go into the offices, it feels like a family-owned business. The conference room that you're sitting in now, I've been there, the fireplace there, and just everything that is built there. It just feels like it was born from the foundation up, and you've retained those qualities, even though you're a regional, national, and perhaps even global company. So I love the story about Katie bringing a videographer from the Blue 42 agency. We're doing some work for you out to Hazeltine. And it was a fall day, and we were rushed to kind of get a bunch of footage that we needed for some projects. And of course, Katie's a golfer, so she was absolutely beside herself. The fact that she was driving around in her Jeep on Hazeltine Golf Course, she's thinking to herself, "Never in a million years." The Ryder Cup was just there. They had a U.S. Open. Never in a million years did I think I'd be out here wheeling around.
Struck down by lightning.
Right.
Must have been the feeling.
Right, but.
Cold day was fun.
The top facilities, the top organizations, the top brands call Plaisted when they need specialized engineered soils and everything. That's got to feel good, Alec.
Oh yeah, we have a great team here. They're really smart at what they do.
Let's talk a little bit about the retail side of the business. As I mentioned, we see the trucks. I see the trucks a lot. Up and down 94. They're going a little bit slower these days because of all the traffic that everyone's dealing with in this corridor. But the semis coming in and out of there, we see them every day. We know it's a huge commercial operation. Let's talk a little bit about that outdoor space that you guys have created, which is absolutely phenomenal. If anyone listening, watching is interested in going out and being able to walk on the pavers and look at outdoor cooking areas and things like that. The showroom at Plaisted is absolutely phenomenal. It's right next door to the retail operation where, as I said earlier, whatever you need as a weekend warrior, landscaper around your house, they've got it at Plaisted. Not just the rock and the dirt and the soils, but they've also got a retail space where you can go in and pick up pretty much what you need to get the job done. So let's talk a little bit about that beautiful outdoor space. I know I was up there for a recent barbecue, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, so I'm lucky enough to have gotten to start to work more on that hardscape side, working with Cindy, Jack, and Meg over there in the store. We redid that last year. We have Belgard, Rochester, Borgers, Marshall, Keystone, and those are kind of some of our main block suppliers over there that we have displayed in certain areas throughout, just to give an idea. And then we do, in each one, we kind of do each different style with each different color, so you can kind of get an idea of what they all look like in your own backyard. So it's really cool. Then we also have that, like you said, the outdoor kitchen, which is amazing. I mean, anyone that can ever dream of having one, they're really cool. And we have fireplaces out there, water features, just a little bit of everything to spice up your backyard or wherever you please.
It really is fantastic. And talk a little bit about the retail side of the business, and just in terms of what your day to day. You know, you said you're getting involved in the hardscape side of the business. Young professional of the year. What does your typical day look like around the organization there?
Okay, can you still see me here?
I can.
Yes.
Yep.
Just popped up on my 1 sec. Sorry about that.
This is where Sarah chimes in with a little bit of a
Little
joke.
bit tidbit.
or
Well, I
a-
was going to ask if he has any cedar wood chips because apparently those have been. I started an area in my yard, and I got 10 bags at Menards back in April. I want to say beginning of April, and then they disappeared. So I have this unfinished space.
Sounds like
with
you'll be
cedar
back
wood
in the.
chips.
Yeah.
So I could just come in. I could come up and stop in the retail space, and that's something that I could order from there. So I can stop looking at that black fabric, empty space, and finally finish a project. Sweet.
and better than that, I know in talking with Katie and Alec, you can actually order online, right? You can order online.
Oh, nice.
That's what I was kind of bring up about kind of the COVID deal. We were very lucky that last year, it's kind of been a dream of mine. I just actually know it was 3 years ago. I was sitting on Amazon thinking, why can't I buy our own products on Amazon or some similar concept? Because everyone loves it. It's easy. It's very convenient. I talked to my dad about it 2 years ago. I believe. I'm like, why don't we sell stuff online? Like, I think I can do that. He's like, well, I thought about it. I'm like, well, let's do it. So we worked with a company out of St. Cloud, and they've been helping us a lot get the website up, but then they also helped us do all our online ordering, which was quite an animal to attack, I guess, with how we work in delivery and our dispatch.
I can imagine. So
It's been very helpful with all the COVID going on because a lot of people are nervous of coming in. So it's grown threefold since last year to this year.
I bet. Yeah, so that's an easy go to the website, order online, and ship to your home.
Exactly.
Sweet. That's where I'm getting my cedar wood chips.
Well, we appreciate you being with us today. One final question before you let you get on with your busy day, Alec. How has business been with COVID? You know, it seems like everybody is obviously spending more time at home. I would imagine that translates into a pretty busy day up there.
Yeah, no, it's been really busy. Obviously, right away, like everyone else, we were pretty nervous on what could happen and what could go on. But thankfully, construction and transportation stuff continue to be essential, and we're in both of those things. So as it started growing, we stayed really busy. The pipeline seems full, but especially for homeowners, yeah, we were worried about no grad parties because think about it, that's what people focus themselves on, the hardscapes and the outdoor fire pits and different things like that. So we're like, oh, we may not get that whole business this year, but turns out they had to stare at it too long and they wanted to do it anyway.
Good for you. Well, it's as I said multiple times, quite an operation up there. I'm sure people recognize it driving by on 169 on the west side of the road there. They can see the gravel pits. That's just only part of the story. So next time you're driving by, make sure you stop in, check out the operation. Alex is usually out there cooking hot dogs on that beautiful outdoor kitchen. So you might get fed while you stop in there. But our 2020 Young Professional of the Year, Alec Plaisted, congratulations. I love the impromptu opening of your actual award. That was not timed. It couldn't have worked out better.
Yes, perfect timing. We can pretend we planned that, right?
Right.
Just take credit for it.
Thanks for joining us, Alec. Continued success. Say hi to Todd and Katie and all the great people up there, and best of luck to you for the rest of 2020.
I will. Thank you both for having me.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Fun. I can finish one of my landscaping projects.
Right, and trust me when I say that the operation up there is phenomenal.
Yeah, I need to go up. We're talking about doing a paver brick patio in front because we
Right.
found ourselves sitting out front more.
Right.
So that's definite. Because there's something about being able to see the different options too.
There is, and you're walking across the patio with every 8 feet. There's a different type of paver or stone, and it's absolutely gorgeous stuff. So that
Yeah.
was fun. That was fun
yeah.
to have Alec with us. That was super cool.
glad it
And now
worked.
Sarah, we're gonna get into some more news and information about what's happening in and around the I94 West Chamber of Commerce footprint. Our good friends at the newspaper. I've kind of found myself, I got to be honest with you,
You're getting old
digging the
school?
fact that I go pick up the newspaper at the Chamber P.O. box every day, and the Crow River News is in there, and they're doing a great job over there covering what's happening, and want to give them a quick shout out. Their chamber members doing a great job. There's a fun splash pad coming to St. Michael. Just want to mention that quick. I know you've got young kids.
Yeah, where is that?
And this Town Center Park, 42nd Street and Frankfurt Parkway up there in St. Michael. And I'll tell you what, it's a cool spot. It's going to have some pickleball areas, which
Oh, nice.
this is kind of a fun sidebar. This $3.3 million operation wouldn't have been, or project I should call it, the $3.3 million project wouldn't be what it is if it didn't have pickleball courts. And I'll tell you why. Because I've got a buddy, and was talking about working out, and I said, let's go play pickleball. And he looked at me like, well, you know,
Are you
isn't that, yeah, right. And I said, well, meet me up there, and we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And bottom line is, after one game, his tongue was hanging out, and he realized that pickleball is definitely a sport for all ages. It's a great workout, and super happy to see that the folks in St. Michael included that in the park. So there's going to be a lot of cool things happening in St. Michael. Just wanted to call attention to that project up there with the splash pad and everything else. I know, Sarah, you love this I-94 project too, this traffic, because you got to get to St. Michael somehow. We could take the back roads
Yes.
from the west side of Maple
I
Grove
can
where we
mostly
live.
avoid it, so that is helpful.
The I-94, I'll tell you what, this has been a conversation, people calling the chamber office or just friends in the neighborhood or community asking, what's going on? When is this going to be done? Because those ramps to and from Maple Grove Parkway being closed through July 26th has been something where people pull up to it and they're like, what's going on here?
Yes.
Where do I go? So there is a dash cam video available via the website for MnDOT if you want to check that out to get the updates. But this 39-mile stretch of I-94 between Maple Grove and Clearwater, we all know the project needs to be done, and it was needed. It's going to be wrapped up in 2021. But for updates, I just wanted to call that out. There's a lot of business leaders, organized coalitions that have been talking with leaders to make sure this project happened. So it was awesome that it's happening. And now that we're in the middle of it, we just kind of got to...
Got to grin and bear it.
We gotta
'cause
grin and bear
It's
it.
going to be great when it's all done. We all know.
It is. And believe me, I live in Maple Grove. I made that mistake of getting on in Rogers after going to Cabela's or somewhere. And
bypassing Maple Grove.
Yeah, and you need to make that decision
Yep.
in Rogers, and all of a sudden I end up in Brooklyn Park.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of what happens. Something else that I found interesting and relevant, and I know it's something that's on your mind, Sarah, with young children, is opening of schools. And hopefully that happens in some way, shape, or form, and the decision's coming
July 27th.
July 27th. You know that
Yes,
date.
that's the deadline for when it's coming. And yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. So my son was in first grade, so did the distance learning at the end of the year. Did a decent job, but he definitely got a little bored with it, and it could be challenging at times. And then my daughter is starting kindergarten this fall. So it'll be interesting if she starts with the distance learning. But I know she's going to be excited. She was uber excited to do some of my son's work with him. I do not envy anyone who has to make this decision, because there's so many things that go into it. Like, what if a teacher gets sick? Do you quarantine the whole class, or
Right,
do you get a
right.
sub? And what if that sub's been to 10 different classrooms? And there's a lot that goes into it, and I'm pretty thankful that I'm not
in the
someone-
position of having to make that
Yes.
decision, right? But definitely on everybody's mind.
Yes.
It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And again, the chamber is involved with the school districts here locally, and it's fun to chat with leaders, superintendents, to find out what their thinking is on it. And no one has an answer, and everyone knows that there's no right or wrong answer to this. So
Right.
it is a tough decision.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, is it going to come out as a statewide decision, or is it going to happen,
From,
regionally or countywide, or
from my understanding, it was a statewide.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's 100% correct. But it was coming from the governor what that final decision was going to be on July 27th.
All right, July 27th it is then.
Yep. So only a little over a week to wait and figure. At least they're doing it early enough that you can mentally prepare. You kind of have that last month before school starts to
Right.
prepare yourself. Although I thought I was mentally prepared when they extended the stay at home or the distance learning, and I kind of went through a little like, oh crap
Right.
moment,
right.
but
We all have been
But
through
we
those
survived,
moments.
yes.
Yep. And it's hard to believe summer's kind of in full swing.
Yes.
We're already talking about the end of July. It's a couple weeks away, but school's going to be here really before we know it. And that's more reason to stay busy, which we are here at the chamber, right? We had a great ambassadors meeting yesterday at the Lookout Bar and Grill in Maple Grove. Mike over there is a member, and wanted to give a shout out to the Lookout for hosting us. They've got one of the best patios. I got to be
Yes.
honest. They have one of the
Yes.
best patios in the area. So
is their playground open? Did you notice any
I
kids
did not
playing?
notice
You
that.
did notice.
We were there at lunchtime. Not that kids wouldn't be there at lunchtime,
Right.
but I did not notice there
No,
weren't
that
kids
is
running around.
a hot spot for my family because of that playground and that beautiful outdoor space. So if you want to get outside anytime, not even just during the pandemic, but there's a great place. That's a great place, and they have amazing food to go with the amazing scenery. So
Speaking of food, Sarah, we're having a drive-through barbecue here at the chamber office.
Barbecue.
That's the best Homer Simpson I've heard in a long time over there, Will. That was pretty good.
I've been practicing that for years.
Register on the website. We need the RSVPs to finalize our food quantities. Our good friends at J&B Company are helping us out with some burgers and some hot dogs. State Representative Kristen Robbins is donating some chips, and we're going to have some great giveaways. Our friends at Raising Cane's Maple Grove donated a bunch of drink coupons, which I've got a stack of them here. Sarah's like, can I have
Fresh
one right now?
lemonade, yeah.
Fresh lemonade that Sarah might mix with an adult
No,
mixer in there. Who
I wouldn't do
knows?
that.
Never. Of course, I always like to talk about Wendy over at Valley Fair. We've got some Valley Fair tickets that we're going to randomly insert into the bag lunches that we're
Ooh,
having for
nice.
everybody. Our friends at Culligan Water. I'm sure Will can get a shot of this drinking water into this vidcast somehow. But our friends, Jim over at Culligan Water, dropped off several cases of water. So this has been fun as we start to think about, really what summer's all about. We have all kind of been hiding in our houses or forced to kind of social distance. We thought, let's get everyone together, have them drive through the parking lot for a drive-through barbecue. Roger Sabat here at Rogers Printing, where the chamber office is housed, is going to clear the parking lot.
nice.
He said he might drive the fire engine over here, and if anyone parks in the spots I need, he's going to hose them down. No, he did not say that. But Roger is absolutely fantastic. He's going to make sure that we've got all the space to accommodate everyone that we need to for the drive-through barbecue. Got a lot of great volunteers that'll be out, so if you haven't seen some of the chamber members in a while, as I'm looking for my notes here,
Yeah, it'll be great to see people, even if it's just a quick moment in a drive-through. It's still, there's something about seeing people face to face that is so much nicer after the months of Zoom calls.
and if nothing else, Mike Colosimo and Bill Carrington on the grill will be absolutely priceless.
Do they got their like playlist going for them
I
so they
think,
can do some dancing?
I think it'll be entertaining watching those two flip burgers.
Speaking of adult beverages and lemonade, huh?
Right. Amy Valak has offered to volunteer. Sheila Zachman, Sarah Becker. We might know Sarah Becker well. We've seen her a couple of times lately.
No idea.
Steve Curtis from Express Employment Professionals is going to help volunteer for the drive-through barbecue. Derek Larson from Edward Jones and Bill McMullen from Money Mailer. People that just love to help out with the chamber, and we're so thankful. We've got a lot of great volunteers along with these donations, including Nothing Bundt Cakes, as well as a toothbrush from Jill over at A Gentle Dental. So you can come over, get your lunch, get your snacks, get your treats, and then you got a toothbrush
Everything.
to take care of business when you're done.
Nice.
So things are really coming together. Again, thanks to the great partner at J&B for making that happen.
What's the date for that again?
The date for that is Wednesday, July 29th. Register on the Chamber website on the events tab, and that's from 11:30 to 1 o'clock. And I'm making Carl more hungry by the second as he's hearing about this barbecue.
I think he's RSVPing on his phone.
Yeah, he's gonna be camping out here until it happens.
If you see 4 or 5 different names that look similar, you know
It's
it was
just
Carl.
We love to talk about our members. Before we talk about all the great things you're doing at Clear Simple Business, I want to give some shout outs here to always our title sponsors at the Chamber: Blue 42 Agency, Rogers Printing and Promotional, J&B Group, Franklin Outdoor Advertising, Farmers State Bank of Hamel, and FedEx Ground are incredibly generous with the Chamber here, so we have to thank them. And also I want to give a shout out to some of our new members that have either signed up for the first time or are renewing. Estonia, right here in Rogers, Amy Rolseth. She's been a member for a few years and just renewed, so thank you, Amy. Three Rivers Fitness in Otsego, Nick Kurzman. Ed's Body Service in Maple Grove, Mike Cox. Mossford and Bartell and Company out of Monticello, they're CPAs, Steve Patterson. And finally, Tile Outlet, Mark and Micah Sickman. Tile Outlet right on 94 there. Shout out to them. They're always doing great things, and they love to fish like I do. So when I stop in and see Mark and Micah, we end up, spending about a half hour on our phones comparing fish photos. So,
Right. Do yours get bigger? Do you have the thing where you put it up closer to the lens so a 4-inch looks like a 12-inch?
I can neither confirm nor deny anything, but we love to talk about our great members who generously give so much, including, by the way, Will on the controls from Cloud Media and Carl. They come in every time we do this podcast. It takes them, or vidcast. I keep saying podcast, Sarah, but it takes them a couple hours to set up, and they got time tearing down. So we can't thank Cloud Media enough for making this happen for us. It's super awesome. And let's talk a little bit about Clear Simple Business, Sarah, and what you've got going in your own business.
Yes. So I have a question for you, or a thought. Have you ever thought about the concept of quantity of hours does not equal quality of work?
I have.
You have?
I have.
Do you follow it? Do
Well,
you really think about it?
Well, I always know that when I spend time on something, it better marry up pretty close, right?
Yep. Yeah. So I have found, in our society, we kind of have this badge for being busy and kind of this concept of the more important I am, the more hours I'm working. And I really want to challenge that and get people to think, well, the quantity of hours does not necessarily equal the quality of work. And it's not necessarily just my opinion, because there's been research done behind this. Mm-hmm. So Stanford University did some research on the amount of hours and people's productivity and found that productivity falls sharply after 50 hours and it drops drastically after 55 hours a week. Like, so much so that if you work 70 hours a week, 15 of those hours you're literally doing nothing. And so I kind of hoping that this message gets some of these, work martyrs of those who are working 60, 70, 80 hours a week to pause and think, how am I what is my productivity? And could I actually have better results with fewer hours, and really stopping to question, how am I working? And possibly maybe I can take some stuff off, I can delegate more, or I can change the process so it's done more efficiently. And so that's an area that my business can really help in, because I'm very passionate about this concept that quantity of hours does not equal quality of work. And I've proved it many, many times that the less time you work on things sometimes, the better it is.
Right. Well, there's some truth to that. There definitely is, and that's, I think, in this moment in time, for sure, something that people should be paying close attention to, right? We all need to be more efficient and more productive, and you're exactly right. Spending more time on something doesn't necessarily always equate to it being a better product. Matter of fact, I just had a similar instance the other day that applied perfectly to, but the point of this would be, if you're looking to be more efficient, if you're looking to be more effective, give Sarah a call. She can come in, sit down with you, give you a consultation or some advice on what's currently happening, and then develop a game plan to move forward.
Yep. A lot of times you need that third party person to kind of break that trend or that mold that you've kind of put yourself in. So
how do people get a hold of you? I know, of course, the website, Clear
Yes.
Simple Business.
You can email me at Sarah with an H at clearsimplebusiness.com. Go to the website. Those are probably the best ways. Come find me at the chamber office when we're doing the vidcast. Just pop in and tap my shoulder. It's all good.
Before we let you go and we wrap up this fourth vidcast, I almost said podcast again, Sarah.
You'll learn eventually.
We have to talk quickly about the golf event on Tuesday, September 29th, Fox Hollow Golf Course. We're confident, we're crossing our fingers that we're going to have a big event, meaning more than 72 golfers. We're almost up to 72 golfers already with registrations. So if you haven't registered, please do so. Shout out to those that have, just really quickly: 21st Century Bank, FedEx Ground, Franklin Outdoor Advertising, Midwest One Bank, Terra Construction, Edward Jones, Derek Larson, Farmers State Bank, Fast Signs, Riley Martin CPA. We've got a lot of folks signed up. We're almost to that 72 golfer initial threshold. And I bring that up because if for some reason we're not allowed to have more than one group on a tee box, we're going to have to limit it to 72. So it's going to be first come, first serve. We also have just a couple of hole sponsors left. Shout out to the following companies that have stepped up so far with the golf hole sponsorships: Commercial Realty Solutions. Everybody loves Commercial Realty Solutions because they have a margarita bar. And
first hole margarita bar, you can't get any better than that.
You can't get any better than that. And by the way, they're absolutely delicious margaritas. Grease Lenhart Allen, Serve Pro, Franklin, MCSI, Holiday Inn, Minneapolis Northwest out of Elk River is a whole sponsor, along with Metro Paving, Atlas Staffing, Guardian Angels, Alan Wiley, Bunker Hills, Midwest One, and the Country Inn and Suites. So we've got a nice group of whole sponsors. We've got additional opportunities to become part of the day.
It looks like only five holes are open.
Less than that, actually, because this was printed out. I haven't updated since our ambassador meeting yesterday. So a couple of people at the ambassador meeting stepped up. So again,
get them. They're going quick.
That's quick.
One of the best events.
It really is.
I would say.
It's a lot of fun. Tuesday, September 29th at Fox Hollow. And I think that's the show, Sarah. What do you think?
Do we want to talk about how excited we are that the NHL is going to be playing in a few weeks?
I'm
not going to say that they're not. I'm just going to say they're playing. I'm even going to tune into the Twins game next Friday. Is the first one?
In, the canned in
the
fan
cheers.
noise? Yeah.
They're going to do the seventh inning stretch still?
Yes.
You take me out to the ball game?
We'll see what happens there. It's going to be different, obviously. I'm excited, like you, as a hockey fan, to see the NHL back. We'll see if it actually happens. But you're right. Pro sports is a sign that hopefully things are going to start to open up again.
Yep. Yeah, if they can get it to work. I have my women's hockey team canceled their fall league, so I'm still not 100% sure if we'll be playing this winter. But they have, they've changed things up
Right.
some with wearing a mask, and you can't use the locker room, so you have to kind of get dressed before, and you can't get in till the other team leaves. But it's still nice to get out on the ice.
It's nice to participate, and it's
Yeah.
also something to watch on TV. So I
Yes.
hope that happens. Crossing my fingers. The NHL happens. Also, town ball. I had that written down in my notes here because, of course, as I mentioned earlier, our good friends at the Crow River News did a really nice story on, well, they do every week, actually, town ball. And I was out riding my motorcycle. There's so many cool little town ball fields. Loretto's got an awesome one. Delano's got a great one. A lot of the communities have these super cool town ball stadiums. Call them stadiums. They only seat a few hundred, but they've got
works.
cold beer, and you can stop in and watch actually some pretty good baseball. So thanks for reminding me about our 60 seconds of sports. And I think that's a wrap. Will?
You got
Carl,
it.
you guys got anything else over there before we put a wrap on this vidcast?
I think that's great. I just know that if I decide to play golf this year, it sounds like I'm going to be stuck on hole 1 for a while.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And before we sign off, I do want to mention that the City of Rogers has grants available on the city website. The grant application process is a first come, first considered process. They're available until August 14th. So if you're a Rogers-based business, there are Small Business Emergency Assistance Program is the name of the program. There's funding available. Check that out on the City of Rogers website.
And there's probably a good chance other cities might have some in
Follow
our area
suit,
too.
right.
So
But I talked to Mayor Ely yesterday. He was pretty excited about it. They just announced it yesterday. It's on the website. Rogers-based businesses that were forced to shut down. Check that out. Hey, this has been fun with Will on the controls. He's got the fun job of now getting this posted to the social media channels. So make sure you share it there. You like it. You love it on all those social media channels. And thanks for listening. Until next time, remember, it's all out there. It's just up to you to go get it
right now.
right now.